Morning, everybody. Welcome to Cannabis Chronicles. If this is your first time here, thanks for joining us. Man, Desert Growth Spurt, Outlaw Grower, we're your hosts. Let's get this started off. What is up, everybody?
How
So
you
I think we got a
doing?
couple. I'm doing good. How
Sorry.
about you? I was gonna say we got a couple different topics we're gonna get onto, but yeah, normally we just start off by a little bit of updates and seeing how everybody's doing. So we'll
Nope.
go with the no.
Quick update. How's your garden doing?
It's looking good. It's looking good. I gotta throw a new picture up on Instagram, um, just to show like the new setup and how everything's like laid out now. Because right now I got two autos in flower, two autos in veg, and probably like maybe 15 photos that were just transferred from solo cups into like smaller pots now, maybe like 1 gallon.
Sure. Nice, man. And that those cups are going to be your outdoor run.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I as of today, I do have all my original first three plants chopped up. Chopped up
Mm.
as in just like cut and hang drying. Um, Truth be told, I only have the one plant actually jarred up at this point, the sour perp. Um,
Mm.
but so I'm still waiting on the cheesecake and the blueberry mazar as far as like trimming and getting them jarred up. So looking good so far though, man. I got to tell you. And then I still have the other three. They're duplicates that they'll probably all finish up later on in the month, maybe like early part of next month. They're about
Mm.
3.5 weeks behind uh the first trio. So I'm staggered out fairly good, and they're all finishing roughly, almost a week apart in between the three different strains. So thank God.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, that's working out pretty good. It spreads out the work then.
Yeah, literally, I'm only going to have to be doing one plant at a time as far as
That's
actual.
perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this is working out great. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome. My hopes are kind of similar. I'm hoping like maybe two at a time.
yeah.
If it works out one at a time, that's even better. But because I'm not sure if I brought it up on here yet or not, but I got that 2x2x3 um grow tent that I just got it so that I could do my drying.
Yeah.
My
Nice.
so I can maybe fit like two plants in there if I kind of like, I might have to push them together a little bit. They'll be cramped in there if it's two, but if it's one at a time, it'll be even better.
Yeah, I do believe you just kind of showed me that privately. I don't think you have any pictures of it anywhere. I don't recall anyway. But yeah,
Yeah, I
it's
can.
a pretty sweet little tent that you got.
Yeah, actually, I'll cause yeah, since we've gotten a little better on this Zoom, I remember that I could switch over, so I'll just switch over on my phone real quick, and I'll go show it,
Cool.
and I'll even show the girls while.
All right. Yeah, let's go on a trip.
All right, there we go. Cool. So go over here, just around. So this is the little grow tent that I got. And right now, I'm kind of like keeping my stuff in it. But at some point, I should be able to put two plants in there, even if I got to if I gotta like hang one of them a little drier and one of them a little low or higher and lower.
Stagger them out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it should work. I could probably even fit 3 in there if I had to, but I don't think I'll have to.
You know, well, I'll wait till you get back in. But I have a suggestion for you on that drying tent.
Okay. Right now we got these girls right here. I actually brought the 2 bigger ones out. I like to give them a little bit of sun once in a while when I can, so I bring them outside.
Looking good, man.
Yeah, looking pretty dang good.
Looking real good. Oh,
I'll show what I did on this one over here. It's a little what I was talking about. Sometimes, like this one right here, the middle branch you can see is right here,
yeah.
and I curved it. I did a little bit of training because it was about 3 inches higher than the rest.
Sure.
So it's a little bit of that, like later stage training that I kind of did at my mom's before, and it doesn't always need to be done. It just depends, like how it's going.
Sure.
So, all right, let me switch back here real quick.
So let me ask you a question. If you hear me, let me ask you a question. So, let me back up before I ask my question. my little tip that I actually how to maximize your space, because after me and you had talked about it, I've been doing my homework on what I can do for my setup. And in doing that, I've seen lots of different setups on how people have been doing their dedicated drying tents. So for you, if you wanted, it is slightly more work, but it wouldn't be too bad. So you can either make one yourself, or you can buy one. So at my local grow shop, they actually sell these like these like circle racks with all like 100 clips on them. So instead of hanging it up whole plant, if you just took each branch and put it on those racks, you could probably fit 4 plants in there. And another thing I've seen people do aside from buying that is same concept, but just putting up some like dowel rods in there, in like little hooks or string, and then you can all DIY at that point. But then literally just same idea, cutting branches and doing each branch in there. And then that way you can actually fit a lot more. You don't have to worry about smushing them.
Yeah. When it comes time for the photos, I was thinking about doing that. I try to like dry on the plant as much as I can, with it all together. Obviously in a situation where I had a bunch, which I'm probably gonna have when those photos are done.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing you were thinking. And I was actually thinking I could take the tent and just lay it sideways. Obviously not in that spot that it's in right now, but I could put it somewhere, lay it sideways, because it's 2 feet top to bottom. So I mean, if the thing is going all the way at the top, I got at least 1.5 feet. So if the branches are 1.5 feet, they could be hanging that way. I got 3 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet of space.
Yeah.
I mean, I could fit many plants in there to dry then at that point.
I'm jealous. I got to figure something else out for my fall run. I'm wrapping up here for the summer as far as indoor stuff. Wrapping up.
And it's like, you just keep looking at like the different sizes, what works for you. And then like my thoughts are like, I feel like it can be used for a bunch of different, uses. So uh I know for sure I'll be able to do some drying with it. And then I mean, who knows what else? I mean, right now I'm using it as storage. I mean, it could be used to do another like we were talking, it could be used to start seedlings. Um
Clones and
so
all
many
that.
yeah, so many things, clones, yeah, exactly. So I just I'm like, and for the price, I mean, it was like $50. So, and it's the same material as the other tent. It's done nice. The zipper's decent.
Yeah.
And if you're not using it a whole lot, it's gonna last.
Yeah.
So, and at the same time, like if you want to keep something dark, like for instance, to go off topic a little bit, there's people that are into shrooms, and that's a dark. I don't know anything about growing those, but I know that you need a dark space
Mhm.
that's completely dark, which is something we need, when we're drying as well. So it's like it creates a completely dark atmosphere. You can change the temperature in there if you want,
Yeah.
depending on where you have it. Obviously, if you got it outside, it's going to be whatever the temp is outside, kind of.
Right. Okay.
But
So, and now back to my actual question now, and kind of getting back on the topic. So we were wanting to talk about container size. This is more for beginners. Okay. Now,
yeah,
experienced growers, they got their whole routine down and they've got this figured out. But a brand new grower who, because now as all these states are becoming legal, I'm going to assume no genuine idea on like where to begin and what to do. So I
yeah,
think we kind of want to talk about container size for your area, because that's going to make a huge difference, as we've both learned in our first couple of
yeah.
runs. We want to go, everyone wants to go big. And if you don't have the space to go big, you are going to regret it. So,
Yeah. And as you had kind of mentioned before we jumped on, you were like picking a space too. And my mind went to like, back to the gorilla growing days. And I'm like, all right, yeah, picking a space. But picking a space within your space,
it's
it's
crucial.
another thing too. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, how much space do you have? Like, are you gonna be buying a big tent and it's gonna take up, half your living room?
Well,
Because that's the only place you could put it.
okay. I know previously we had talked maybe not doing this discussion, but unfortunately, my brain's going, I got all kinds of stuff. So unfortunately, I'm going to jump on this subject just real quick. So
Yeah.
If you are new to growing, first off, and do not quote me on anything, but the vast majority of states do not allow open outdoor growing. So no matter what, you're going to have to come up with some sort of cockamamie contraption. So the vast majority of people do just go ahead and do it inside your house. Now, a lot of people, if you have the capability of just putting a grow tent in your living room and having it exhaust out a window, fantastic. If you're not able to, and you have to be a little bit more discreet with it, there's a lot of closet grows. That is like the number one area usually, and a lot of secretive grows in the house are done in closets. Now, it could be a walk-in closet. It could be a tiny little slide door. You can do it. The number one thing you're going to want to do when you get your area, now, if you're buying a tent, in general, you don't really have to worry about light leaks. But if you're doing an area in your house, you need to be very cautious of this. So let's say you're just doing it in a bedroom. You need to cover those windows. You cannot have the sunlight coming in during your dark periods. So, and if you're doing it in a closet, kind of the same idea. You're going to want to, in some way or shape, block out the sun from around that border. So once you get your area figured out, then you know how much space you're working with. Once you know how much space you're working with, then you can kind of start planning out items you need. Now, in general, we are not going to be discussing anything with auto flowers, because in general, you should have a couple grows under your belt before you start diving into it, because they are super easy to grow once you are at least decent at it.
You know what to do. Yep.
Yeah, if you're not, you can run into problems real fast and just waste a whole bunch of time. So in general, quote unquote, cut your teeth on some photo periods. At that point, then you kind of have full control. You can see the whole life cycle. So container size. We'll talk about size, then we'll talk about different types. So a general rule of thumb, and this is by no means a law.
Yeah.
Every gallon will roughly equal about a foot tall. So if you only have a 5-foot high space to work with, let's say your tent is only 5 feet high, you don't necessarily want to throw your plants in 5-gallon buckets, because you're going to be right near the top and then potentially going into that light and getting a whole bunch of light burn.
Right. Yeah, because you're giving it too much, to grow. It's too high.
Make sure it has enough room. So based on your space, and again, if you're just using the general rule of thumb of each gallon, so a 1-gallon pot will grow a 1-foot pot.
Yeah.
Again, very generalized. Obviously, if you've been in the community for a while, there's a lot of people that do these solo cup challenges. And I've seen people like 2 and 3 foot plants out of solo cup. So you can do things. Okay. But these are way more, there's a lot of.
Yeah, and they are definitely
into that.
Not new to the game.
Root cutting, like you're actually kind of half bonsai doing stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can do, but but again, new grower, like not really sure what to do, not a problem. I'm just going to keep kind of yakking on. So once you figure out your space, because you're going to have your light, so you have your light, and again, general rule of thumb, because all the lights are different, you want your light to be about a foot and a half away from the top of your plants. And again, there's so many variables to that. I was just saying, I don't know if you ever, in general, you want the light about a foot and a half away. Again, so many variables. You could adjust your light. You could have different wattages. There's so much stuff. But in general, you want to keep a little bit of space in between. So you need to plan that out. So once you know the space, you have your light, now you can figure out your container size. So great thing is now with it being legal in so many places, there's many new products out for this. So someone in my area, for example, I use plastic store-bought buckets, and I just drilled a bunch of holes in the bottom, because that was before we had a specialized grow shop in my area. Someone in your area could very much benefit from those fabric pots.
Fabric pots, yep. I've thought about them myself.
So,
and I'll be honest, the only reason I haven't tried them is just because I'm cheap, and I've already gotten like a dozen free buckets from my wife's work.
Absolutely.
Why give them up?
I'm in the same boat. I now actually have easy access to a lot of neat new items, but I've been using these Home Depot buckets for a few years and works just great. I've had a couple issues early on where the holes weren't big enough and they clogged up, and I had some drainage problems. Shame on me. So if you're going to do some DIY stuff, make the holes big.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Make sure it drains.
Yeah, because I did the same thing. I was like, all right, let me put like 6 smaller holes, where it's like, just put like 2 decent size, like about the size of a cigarette, 2 holes that aren't going to get clogged.
my 5 gallon, I have like 10 holes in the bottom of that, maybe more. It's like I Swiss cheesed it. I did like a cross pattern and then like did it again diagonally. Like there's like, you know,
Okay. Okay.
3. There's a bunch of holes. Yeah, it's again.
Yeah, and everybody's got like they'll do your own things on that. It's but like you were saying, just make them big enough
Yeah.
that they're gonna because you
It
know
won't
some of the
fall.
stuff. Yeah, I mean some of the soil has little chunks in it, chunks of this, chunks of that. It depends on what you're using too. Like so,
Regardless, it'll all settle a little bit, whether you're
yeah.
using an actual soil or
Hmm.
like cocoa, it's all going to
Hmm.
settle a little bit. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
yeah, proper drainage. So anyway, so the fabric pots are really good for areas with a natural normal amount of humidity, not like here in Arizona. So
Yeah.
those are great because those will actually do a whole lot of root pruning. So like as the roots hit the air, that part dies off and it forces more roots to keep growing deeper and deeper. So that's why those fabric pots are amazing if you have the right environment. So if you're
Yeah. Yeah.
anywhere like with a decent amount of normal humidity, again, I'm in Arizona, so I have none of that. But basically everywhere else in the country would benefit greatly from using those fabric pots. I'm trying to keep as much moisture in for as long as I can.
Hmm. Interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I am cheap, but when it comes to
Might be worth
my
getting
growing,
like one or
I'm
two.
willing to I'm willing to spend some money when it comes to the growing. So
Yeah. You could get
yeah.
some
I
amazing.
mean, yeah, I'm like it's the thing. It's just like it's that cheapness in me that's caused me not to, just to be honest, because I know like that they are good. But I mean, I've got the 5 gallon buckets. I've got a bunch of 3 gallon square buckets. I've got a bunch of like probably like 3 or 4 gallon, like like the plasticky ones. They're not hard plastic, but and then a bunch of little gallon ones.
Yeah.
And it's like, I've got a bunch. Why buy more?
Yeah. So we did, so we did jump ahead into like container size, but so in a new grower, we heard us talk about like the solo cup challenge.
Yeah.
You're gonna want to get yourself some solo cups
Solo cups
to
for sure.
start your seeds in.
Mhm.
And there is like two different sizes. I think there's the 12 and 16 is the most common, but doesn't matter. Just get yourself some solo cup, not clear ones. Let me stress that again. Get the red ones or the black ones now, whatever. Don't get the clear ones. You don't want your roots exposed to sunlight.
Mhm.
They need to be dark. So don't get clear ones. Get the colored ones, and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Poke a couple holes in the bottom, fill it up with whatever media you are using. And there's tons of videos out there. If you are curious as to what kind of soils to use or media to start your stuff in, that's not what we're talking about. We're just trying to talk about container size because I can only speak for myself, but because I'm fairly active on Instagram, I'm seeing a lot of people outgrow their space. They're getting like their first light, their first tent, and it's their first grow, and it's like the plant is
And then
like
they're like, yeah, it's
that
small. Yeah, it's
gross.
tiny. I gotta
There's
step
no
it up.
room to move it. It just got out of hand. They newer grow didn't realize the massive amount of stretch these plants will do when they go into flower. They can almost triple in size depending on variables and situations, but double in size is not uncommon. That's actually kind of standard to what
Yes.
you see in those first 2 weeks of flower. So, people aren't, they can't necessarily visualize it. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And it's like, bend it down and bend that down. And
you can try some different late stage, stress training and stuff like that. And I would just say this, like, I mean, yeah, like you can make squattier plants, you can make, or taller plants. It depends on your space again, too. Like we were talking about earlier. I mean, if you've got a closet and you can use that whole closet all the way to the ceiling, you're going to be able to grow a taller plant. But if you're like, oh, well, I got to still hang clothes and you got like a 2 by 2 by 2 tent, yeah, you're going to grow a small plant.
yeah, hopefully you're
That's just
still hanging the clothes that you're growing in, because that is going to stink. Uh,
think.
it's one thing like when you see after you just burnt one, but like growing's, as you know, growing's a whole different funk. Like that is
Yes.
can't
But and that's the
away.
thing. I mean, I've been seeing so many different people trying so many different things because they're like, that's the only space I got. Or it's
Yeah.
like closet with, maybe they don't have clothes in there, but they got a shelf that, is
Still
sits lower.
storage.
So they don't have as much space and it's is a whole closet.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're seeing so many different styles now because it's legal.
Exactly.
And
And
people don't have to worry about it as much anymore. Just somebody like going, oh well, the electric bill's higher, so go check that place out. Well, now the electric company's loving it because they're like, yeah, we know it's higher. We know what they're doing. That's awesome. Keep doing it.
okay, let's actually let you touch the nerve here. Last
Okay.
last some so I'm coming up on uh having my Mars Hydro FC 8000 light for a full year now. My wife got that for me for Father's Day. So in the winter, okay, and I do not have like a chimney. Even the winters do get pretty chilly out here, so you do need heat. So there's a lot of houses around me that have like wood burning uh fireplaces. So mine's not. It's all like electric heat and whatnot. So I started getting notices from the company that I'm using like eight
Too much.
times more electricity than people around, like than my neighbors, just specifically my neighbors. I'm like, oh,
Oh my gosh.
I got 3 of those notices last year, and then they quit. So the only thing I can actually come up with, the only reason I think, so I do have a neighbor behind me that just got an electric car. So I'm wondering if they put in a charger, like a EV charger, and now that is drawn. So now I don't look bad if people are charging up their cars. But I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I got 3 letters last year. Sorry, go ahead.
It could be that, or it could be, um, yeah, that what that did make a lot of sense when you said that. So I kind of like drifted off of what my original thought was when you started saying that. But I mean, it's legal to grow, you think, or what I was thinking is maybe they were sending you the notice because they thought somebody was like
Stealing
siphoning
power. Sure,
electric.
sure.
Because it's legal, you'd think they'd be like, hey,
Sweet.
notice you are our number one customer. We love you. Because
Yeah.
they're
And
just getting
that's
8
when you start
times
getting
the
knocks
normal
on the
amount.
door. That's when you get knocks on the
So
door. Let me see your plant count.
yeah, exactly. But yeah, because it's like before they kind of had like a unwritten like thing with law enforcement that they would be just notifying when there's just an exorbitant amount of electricity because it's probably an illegal grow.
Right. That's yeah. But yeah,
Because it was a way of like going, yeah, it sucks because we're getting awesome money here, but we got to snitch on these people. So they did it. They probably hated doing it, but they did it to keep, business going. And now they're like, dude, we don't got to tell nobody. This is awesome. So yeah, I kind of feel like it might have been like they thought somebody was like stealing your
Sure.
electricity.
And that makes sense. But yeah, many again variables to all of it. But yeah, like I said, I know recently someone behind me, they got one of them like Tesla SUV thing.
Yeah.
So
So now they got
I'm gonna assume they got a charger at the house if you
yeah.
have an electric vehicle. So yeah, now I'm out.
Off the radar.
Hey, man, as far as they're concerned, maybe I was just the first one on the block, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, maybe.
Yeah,
But granted, if you come in my driveway, it don't look like that.
yeah, no Teslas. That's funny. So yeah, pot sizes and like the space you got to work with, like all play a big part in each other. If you got plenty of space, man, solo cups to like, I mean, you can go solo cup to 3 gallon to 5 gallon, or you can go solo cup straight to 5 gallon. It's just,
10 gallon.
but if you got plenty of space, man, you better be using at least a 5 gallon bucket.
Yeah. And that's what those white buckets yours are in, correct?
Yeah. Yep. And those 3 gallon buckets that I had gotten, I got them because they were square. And in case I needed to do a more compact grow and the plants are actually going to be smaller, those square buckets fit
better, way better
together. Yeah, they do. And then you can just fill out almost like a scribe. You can just fill it out, that space. So I'm going to be honest, I don't really use them anymore now because, I got plenty of space. And also, like you had mentioned earlier, the fact that, when you're getting into it, you want to just go hard. I don't put as many plants in there now as I did before. I'm not trying, I'm trying to do like a couple good, nice ones at a time, in stages. Obviously, I've got like 6 in there that are the ones that are in the tent, and then I've got the ones that are going to be out of the tent later. So that's it. It's just, you don't have to go so big. Be focused on what you've got with the space you've got and do well each plant.
Yeah. It's definitely, it's very exciting to get going, but take your time. Everyone wants to be the next El Chapo when it comes to growing. Okay. You're not, I'm not, you're not, we're not.
Nope.
So do one or two, take your time, learn your plant, learn you're going to run into problems, learn what the deficiencies are, learn the proper feeding systems, learn your pH scale, learn your ppms, EC. We can go on and on. It is
on and on and on.
Or as hard as you want to make it. The harder you want to make it, the better it's going to be. So you can do it and accomplish and have something, and it'll be all right. But you'll feel great. Now you can do it. Do your homework. Dip your toes in. Start stressing that plant out. The results will be amazing. Like amazing.
Oh yeah. There's so much to go on that. With what you were saying about like, everybody wants to be the next El Chapo when you're first starting. You've got all these great think of it like this. It's a marathon. It's a marathon that you're gonna do over and over again.
Yep.
Over and over and over. Like these marathons that people run year after year after year, and they train to do that year after year after year. That's what this is. It's get in, be patient, learn patience, lots and lots of patience. And that's it. Just be prepared to just go for a long time. It's a marathon. It's a lot of work.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is not a fast, you're talking average 3-4 months.
Yep.
And so we know people that will veg for 2 months.
Yeah.
So now you're
Oh,
talking
even longer.
5 months,
Yeah.
depending on the
5,
flower. And then you still don't get to touch it. Now you got to let it dry a week. If hopefully you can hit that week. If you're lucky, you can go longer. So, okay, you have your drying time. Now you have your cure time.
time.
People say,
And the longer you cure, the
and
better.
the longer you cure it, the better it is. So 2 weeks is like my personal minimum. So I wait a week of drying, 2 weeks in a jar, then I taste it for the first time. So we're talking 6 months sometimes before you ever get to try that.
Yeah.
So
and if you're like, and if you can be even more patient, and you're like, look, this shit's not gonna last me till the next harvest anyway, so I'm gonna go back to the dispo or somebody. Fuck it, just instead of going on the back end of that, go on the beginning. Let your shit cure longer.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to buy some later anyway. Buy it now.
Buy it now.
And then let your stuff that you grew cure a little bit longer.
Is
just so you can be
better.
like, man, I grew some kick-ass shit.
Yeah. And as we both know, going to the dispo will lower your tolerance level.
Exactly. Yup.
I can't wait to get back into my own personal, man. I can't wait.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, I'm starting to get a little hungry. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah. Always, man.
Should close it out like we always do.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And we'll see you next week.